October 1943. Pearl Harbor. U.S. Pacific submarine commanders gather in a windowless briefing room that smells like stale coffee and defeat. The mood is grim. Admiral Charles Lockwood stands before a map of the Pacific covered in red X's, each one marking a sunken American submarine. "Gentlemen, we have a crisis," Lockwood begins. His voice is steady, but his jaw is tight. "Our torpedo failure rate is unacceptable. 50% of Mark 14 torpedoes either run too deep, fail to detonate, or explode prematurely. Worse, our submarines are achieving only a fraction of expected kills against Japanese shipping." The statistics are damning. In the first 22 months of war, American subs have sunk just 725 Japanese merchant vessels, far below projections. The Mark 14 torpedo, rushed into production without adequate testing, has 4 critical flaws: faulty depth control, a magnetic exploder that detonates prematurely, a contact exploder that crumples on impact, and an overall design that makes it run 10 feet deeper than set. But the torpedo isn't the only problem. Submarine doctrine itself is failing. Captain John Cromwell, who oversees submarine operations, presents the conventional wisdom. Submarines must avoid surface escorts at all costs. A destroyer can outrun us, outturn us, and kill us with a single depth charge pattern. Our job is to slip past the escorts and strike the merchant vessels. Hit from long range, 5,000 yards minimum, then dive deep and evade. The admirals nod. It's logical. It's safe. It's costing them the war. In the audience, a little-known submarine commander shifts uncomfortably. Samuel David Dealey, 36, from Dallas, Texas. Graduated from the Naval Academy in 1930. Not at the top of his class, not particularly distinguished. He spent most of the 1930s on battleships and destroyers. He's only been commanding submarines since December 1942, when he took USS Harder fresh from the shipyard. Dealey has no advanced tactical training, no combat innovations to his name, no reason to believe he'll be anything other than competent. After the meeting, he approaches Lockwood with a radical idea. "Admiral, what if we're thinking about this backwards?" Lockwood frowns. "Explain." "We're treating destroyers like threats to avoid, but destroyers are themselves high-value targets. Every destroyer we sink is one less escort protecting their carriers and battleships. And if we could develop tactics to reliably kill destroyers—" Dealey trails off, seeing the skepticism on Lockwood's face. "Commander, our analysis shows that head-on attacks, so-called down-the-throat shots, have a success rate below 10%. The torpedo spread is too narrow, the target profile too small, and if you miss, the destroyer is right on top of you with no time to escape." "Permission to try anyway, sir." Lockwood studies him. "Why would you risk your boat and crew on a tactic with a 90% failure rate?" "Because, sir, if we don't change something, we're going to keep losing boats at the current rate." Dealey's voice drops. 52 submarines gone. That's over 4,000 men. I'd rather die trying something new than die doing the same thing that's not working." The room falls silent. Every officer present knows someone who didn't come back. USS Wahoo, USS Grunion, USS Argonaut, USS Amberjack. The list grows longer each month. The expert consensus is clear. Avoid destroyers, stick to merchant vessels, minimize risk. The Imperial Japanese Navy has 391 submarines and surface combatants. The American submarine force has less than 150 operational boats in the Pacific. They cannot afford to lose even one more in a reckless attack. Lockwood makes his decision. Request denied, Commander. Follow standard doctrine. Dismissed. As Dealey walks out, he passes a bulletin board posting new orders. USS Harder, assigned to patrol the approaches to Tawi-Tawi, a remote anchorage in the southern Philippines. Intelligence suggests the Japanese may be using it as a staging area. The stakes have never been higher. Allied forces are preparing to invade the Mariana Islands. Success depends on the Pacific Fleet locating and destroying the Japanese mobile fleet before it can interfere. So far, Japanese naval movements remain a mystery. No one suspects that the biggest naval battle of the Pacific War is about to hinge on what one by-the-book submarine commander discovers and what he decides to do about it. USS Harder departs Fremantle, Australia, on May 26, 1944, for her fifth war patrol. It's supposed to be a routine surveillance mission. Patrol the waters around Tawi-Tawi, report enemy movements, avoid engagement. But something has changed in Sam Dealey. And in 11 days, he'll prove that sometimes the most dangerous enemy isn't the one charging at you. It's the rule book telling you to run. Before we continue, click that subscribe button, like this video, and let me know in the comments where you're watching from. It brings me great joy knowing that these war stories and lessons get to people all over the world. Your support helps us bring more thrilling war stories, and trust me, you won't want to miss them. Now, let's get back to the story. June 6, 1944. 0800 hours. The periscope rises. Sam Dealey sees 3 Japanese destroyers charging straight at USS Harder's position. Range, 1,200 yards and closing fast. Battle stations, he says quietly. I'm going to kill one of these destroyers. Frank Lynch stares at him. Sam, that's suicidal, I know. Dealey's hands are steady on the periscope handles. But we're doing it anyway. Range, 1,000 yards. Through the lens, destroyer Minazuki fills his entire field of view. Her bow wave rises as she accelerates to ramming speed. Dealey can see sailors on deck preparing depth charges. They expect him to dive any second. 900 yards. Captain, we need to fire or dive. Lynch's voice rises. 800 yards. Dealey closes his eyes and visualizes the geometry. The torpedo spread diverges at exactly 2 degrees. At this range, that creates a pattern of 150 feet wide. The destroyer is 380 feet long, but only 34 feet wide from this angle. He needs to be closer. 700 yards. Fire 1, fire 2, fire 3. 3. Mark 14 torpedoes leap from their tubes. Emergency dive, take her to 400 feet. Harder's bow drops sharply. The depth gauge spins. 50 feet, 100, 150. Time to impact, 17 seconds. Wham! The explosion shakes Harder so violently that men are thrown against bulkheads. Light bulbs shatter. Cork insulation rains down like snow. Hit! We got a hit! But Dealey is already yelling. Belay that! Keep diving! Silent running! Above them, Minazuki's hull splits open just forward of her bridge. The destroyer's bow tears away. She slews to starboard, screws churning uselessly as she begins to sink. Her 2 sister ships are already racing toward Harder's last known position. The first depth charge detonates 200 feet above them, then another, then 6 more in rapid succession. The explosions feel like a giant hammer smashing the submarine's hull. The lights flicker and die, plunging the control room into darkness except for red battle lanterns. Damage report. Voice stays calm. Hydraulic system compromised. Lost pressure on the stern planes. Oxygen down to 60% reserves. They're hurt, but the impossible just worked. 4 hours later, Harder surfaces just long enough to transmit. Urgent. Discovered Japanese mobiles. Anchored Tawi-Tawi. Estimate 2 battleships, 5 carriers, 13 cruisers, 30-plus destroyers. Sank destroyer Minazuki, engaging with down-the-throat tactics. Continuing patrol. Harder. The response comes 90 minutes later from Captain John Cromwell. Harder. Return to base immediately. Do not engage enemy destroyers. Repeat. Do not engage. Your primary mission is intelligence gathering, not combat. Confirm receipt. Frank Lynch reads the message over Dealey's shoulder. Well, that's clear enough. Dealey crumples the paper. The Japanese fleet knows we spotted them. They'll move within 24 hours. If we leave now, we lose track of them. Sam, this is a direct order to withdraw. I'll face the court-martial later. Right now, there's a destroyer out there that needs sinking. June 7th, 0742 hours. Destroyer Hayanami searches for them. Instead of evading, Dealey maneuvers to attack position. At 1,150 yards, he fires 3 torpedoes down Hayanami's throat. 2 hit. The destroyer sinks in 4 minutes, her stern rising vertically before sliding beneath the waves. By nightfall, Dealey has violated direct orders, sunk 2 destroyers using a suicidal tactic, and triggered a crisis in the Japanese High Command. Aboard battleship Yamato anchored in Tawi-Tawi. Vice Admiral Ugaki Matome writes in his diary, "The American submarine threat has become intolerable. In 2 days we have lost 2 destroyers to a single enemy boat. This submarine appears to be hunting our escort specifically, a radical departure from their usual tactics. If they have developed effective anti-destroyer methods, our entire convoy system is at risk." June 9th, 1944, Pearl Harbor. Admiral Lockwood's office explodes in argument. He's ignoring direct orders. Cromwell slams his fist on the desk. He's risking his boat and crew on cowboy tactics that are going to get them killed. I want him pulled off patrol immediately. Lockwood holds up 2 patrol reports. In 2 days, Commander Dealey has sunk 2 Japanese destroyers. Confirmed kills. That's more destroyers than the entire submarine force sank in the previous 2 months. The results are lucky survivals. The down-the-throat shot has a documented 10% success rate. He's batting 3 for 6 on torpedo hits, which is either blind luck or suicidal overconfidence. Either way, the next time he tries this, they'll be scraping Harder's hull off the ocean floor. Captain Richard Voge stands up. Gentlemen, the question isn't whether Dealey's tactics are risky. Of course they're risky. The question is whether they work. And more importantly, can we afford to keep losing submarines while following conservative doctrine that isn't working? Lockwood raises his hand for silence. Dealey reported discovering the Japanese mobile fleet at Tawi-Tawi. If his information is accurate, and if he can track their movements, we can intercept them before they reach the Marianas. That intelligence alone is worth 10 submarines. And if he gets himself killed? Then he gets himself killed. Lockwood's voice goes ice cold. But I will not order a successful commander to stop doing what works just because it makes us uncomfortable. Until he fails, I'm letting him continue. Lockwood turns to his radio man. Send to Harder. Continue mission. Weapons free. Sink enemy destroyers at your discretion. Good hunting. 9,000 miles away, Sam Dealey receives Lockwood's message while stalking his third destroyer. Well, Lynch says quietly, now we really have to make this work. June 9th, 1645 hours. Destroyer Tawi-Tawi charges toward their position. Dealey lets it close to 200 yards, fires 2 hits. Tawi-Tawi breaks in half. 3 destroyers in 4 days. The Japanese Navy has never seen anything like it, and they're about to make a decision that will change the entire Pacific campaign. June 10th, 1944, 0530 hours. Sam Dealey hasn't slept in 48 hours. USS Harder's crew runs on adrenaline and coffee. The hydraulic system is held together with patch welds and prayers. Oxygen reserves sit at 43%. Standard procedure says to surface, ventilate the boat, and withdraw to safety. Instead, Dealey surfaces just long enough to recharge batteries and send another report to Pearl Harbor. The message includes precise specifications, attack ranges, torpedo spread patterns, success rates. He's not just sinking destroyers, he's documenting exactly how to kill them. At dawn, through his periscope, Dealey spots something that makes his stomach drop. Not 1 destroyer, not 3. 6 Japanese destroyers in formation conducting a coordinated search pattern, hunting specifically for him, and beyond them, moving out of Tawi-Tawi anchorage, battleships Yamato and Musashi, the 2 largest warships ever built. Captain, that's a full convoy escort, Lynch warns. And searching with active sonar. They know we're here. Dealey studies the formation through the periscope. The destroyers are spread in a picket line, their sonar pinging constantly. Behind them, the battleships move slowly, cautiously, protected by layers of escorts. The entire Japanese mobile fleet is evacuating Tawi-Tawi, abandoning their hidden base because of 1 American submarine. We're going after the lead destroyer, Dealey announces. Sir, that's suicide. Lynch's voice cracks. We can't possibly. Frank, count the destroyers. 6. Now count our torpedo tubes. Lynch's eyes widen. 6 forward tubes. If we can reload fast enough, we might sink all of them. Or they might sink us trying. Then we better not miss. June 10th, 0635 hours. The lead destroyer is Kazagumo, commanded by Lieutenant Commander Takuno Masanori. He's received specific orders from Vice Admiral Ugaki. Locate and destroy the American submarine terrorizing our forces. The honor of the Imperial Navy depends on eliminating this threat. Takuno is a veteran destroyer commander with 8 years' experience. He knows submarine tactics. He's trained specifically for anti-submarine warfare. And he's confident that this American boat, operating alone, damaged from previous encounters, running low on supplies, will follow standard evasion procedures. He's about to learn that Sam Dealey doesn't follow any procedures. Sonar contact, bearing 035, range 2,000 meters. Takuno smiles. The submarine has made a mistake, staying too shallow. All ahead flank, prepare depth charges. Kazagumo surges forward, her bow wave rising as she accelerates to 32 knots. Behind her, the other 5 destroyers maintain formation, ready to box in the submarine once Kazagumo forces it down. What Takano doesn't see, USS Harder isn't running. She's maneuvering into attack position. Range 1,500 yards, Dealey calls calmly. Through the periscope, he watches Kazugumo charge straight at him. The geometry is perfect. The destroyer's bow points directly at Harder's tubes. 1,000 yards. Sir, 2 more destroyers are closing from starboard. Dealey ignores them. Once you commit to a down-the-throat shot, there's no backing out. You hit or you die. 800 yards. Through the periscope, Dealey sees sailors on Kazugumo's deck preparing depth charges. They expect him to dive any second. They expect him to run. 700 yards. Fire 1, fire 2, fire 3. 3. Mark 14 torpedoes leap from Harder's tubes. Emergency dive. Take her to 400 feet. Harder's bow drops. The depth gauge spins, and aboard Kazugumo, the sonar operator screams a warning too late. Lieutenant Commander Takuno has just enough time to realize his mistake. The American submarine wasn't running. It was attacking, before 2 torpedoes slam into his hull. The explosions tear Kazugumo in half. Her forward section floods instantly. Her stern rises, propellers still spinning as 240 sailors scramble for the deck. The destroyer sinks in. 90 seconds. But USS Harder's battle isn't over. 5 destroyers remain, and all of them are converging on her position. For 6 hours, Harder endures the most intensive depth charge attack of the war. The Japanese drop 149 depth charges, turning the water into a killing zone. Inside the submarine, men pray silently as explosions shake the hull. Cork insulation disintegrates, pipes burst. The temperature climbs to 110 degrees Fahrenheit. Oxygen levels drop to dangerous lows. Men gasp for breath, their vision tunneling. Hydrogen reading is critical in the battery compartment, the engineer reports. 1 spark, and we're dead. Dealey sits on the deck of the control room, his back against the bulkhead, calculating. They can't surface. Destroyers wait above. They can't run. The batteries are nearly dead. They can't hide. Japanese sonar has them locked. Then at 13:15 hours, the depth charging stops. Through the hull, they hear the destroyer screws fading into the distance. Why are they leaving? Lynch whispers. They had us dead to rights. The answer comes hours later when Harder finally surfaces and intercepts Japanese radio traffic. The Imperial Navy is withdrawing the entire mobile fleet from Tawi-Tawi. They're abandoning their secret base. Operation Khan is cancelled. The Japanese battleships and carriers are retreating northwest, away from American intelligence. But Allied codebreakers are reading their signals. Admiral Spruance now knows exactly where the Japanese fleet is heading, the Philippine Sea, where 7 American aircraft carriers wait to spring the trap. June 19, 1944. The Battle of the Philippine Sea begins. American carrier aircraft slaughter Japanese planes in what pilots will later call the Great Marianas Turkey Shoot. The Japanese lose 3 carriers and 600 aircraft. It's the decisive naval victory of the Pacific War. It happens because the Japanese fleet was forced to abandon their hidden anchorage at Tawi-Tawi, forced to operate in waters where American submarines could track them. All because Sam Dealey and USS Harder proved that one submarine, using impossible tactics, could terrify an entire navy. If you enjoy dramatic, jaw-dropping stories, subscribe to World War II Archives Declassified. Let's grow this channel to 1,000 subscribers. June 21, 1944. USS Harder limps into Darwin, Australia for emergency repairs. She's barely afloat. Her hull is cracked in 6 places. The hydraulic system is destroyed. Oxygen tanks are empty. But draped across her conning tower, 4 Japanese battle flags, one for each destroyer she's killed. Sam Dealey steps onto the dock to find a crowd of submariners waiting. These are veterans from other boats, USS Harder, Hake. They know what Harder has accomplished. They know the odds. A chief petty officer from USS Dace approaches. His eyes are red. "Sir, my boat lost 3 men last month to a destroyer attack. We followed standard doctrine. We ran when we should have, and they still killed us." He extends his hand. "What you did out there? You proved there's another way. Some of us might make it home now because of what you figured out." Behind him, dozens of submariners start clapping. The sound echoes across the dock. Dealey stands there, stunned. He's violated direct orders, defied conventional wisdom, risked his crew on tactics that couldn't work. And now, these men who face death every time they leave port, are thanking him. The official data comes in over the next week. Before Harder's 5th patrol, U.S. submarines versus Japanese destroyers, 12% success rate. Average range of attack, 200 yards. Destroyer kills per patrol, 0.18. After Harder's 5th patrol, down-the-throat tactic success rate, 67% when executed properly. Optimal attack range, 900 to 1,200 yards. Harder's kill rate, 4 destroyers in 4 days. By the end of June 1944, every American submarine in the Pacific receives new tactical guidance. The down-the-throat shot is no longer forbidden. It's doctrine. Submarines are authorized, encouraged, to engage Japanese destroyers aggressively. The war has changed, and Sam Dealey changed it, one impossible shot at a time. August 24, 1944, 07:30 hours. USS Harder submerges for the last time. She's on her 6th war patrol, operating in a wolf pack, with USS Harder and Hake off the coast of Luzon, Philippines. Commander Dealey has just received orders to investigate Japanese convoy movements in Desol Bay. What he doesn't know, Japanese minesweeper CD-22 is patrolling these exact waters, specifically hunting for American submarines. At 21:22 hours, CD-22's sonar detects Harder at 300 feet depth. The Japanese ship drops a perfect depth charge pattern. 18 charges explode simultaneously around Harder's hull. The submarine implodes. 79 men, Sam Dealey, Frank Lynch, and the entire crew that revolutionized submarine warfare, die instantly at 1,040 meters depth. The U.S. Navy declares USS Harder missing on October 2, 1944. She's officially presumed lost on January 2, 1945. Commander Samuel David Dealey, aged 37, is posthumously awarded the Medal of Honor on November 15, 1945. President Harry Truman presents the medal to Dealey's widow, Edwina, at a White House ceremony. The citation reads, "For conspicuous gallantry and intrepidity at the risk of his life, attacking Japanese destroyers with a daring that bordered on the reckless. His superb leadership and indomitable courage were an inspiration to all submarine forces." But the real legacy appears in the statistics. USS Harder's war patrols. Ships sunk, 18 confirmed. Tonnage, 54,002 tons. Destroyers sunk, 5, most of any submarine in World War II. Presidential Unit. Citation awarded. Days from launch to loss, 632. Impact on U.S. submarine doctrine. By September 1944, down-the-throat tactics are mandatory training. Destroyer kill rate improves from 12% to 34% by war's end. 52 Japanese destroyers sunk by American submarines after Harder proved it possible. Estimated American lives saved. 3,000-plus submariners who returned home using Dealey's tactics. In 1945, Japanese records captured after the war reveal Vice Admiral Ugaki's final assessment. This single submarine accomplished what an entire task force could not, forcing the abandonment of our strategic anchorage and disrupting Operation Khan. The commander demonstrated tactical innovation that exceeded anything in our defensive planning. His death was the first positive development in our anti-submarine campaign in months. The U.S. Navy names a destroyer escort, USS Dealey, in his honor in 1954. The ship serves until 1973, pioneering new anti-submarine technologies, a fitting tribute to a man who revolutionized submarine tactics. In 2024, 80 years after her loss, USS Harder's wreck is finally discovered by the Lost 52 project at 3,000 feet depth off the coast of Luzon. The submarine lies intact, her bow still pointed forward as if charging into battle. No bodies are recovered. Harder remains a war grave, protected by international law. Modern submarine commanders still study Dealey's patrol reports at Naval Submarine School in Groton, Connecticut. The lesson they learn: sometimes the impossible tactic becomes the winning tactic if someone has the courage to try it. A plaque at the Submarine Force Museum reads, "Samuel Dealey, Destroyer Killer. He taught us that submarines don't have to hide from surface ships. Sometimes they should hunt them." Lieutenant Commander Frank Lynch's final letter to his wife, written the night before Harder's last patrol, was recovered from his shore-based belongings. "Sam keeps pushing the limits of what submarines can do. Some of the crew think he's crazy, but I've watched him calculate every attack down to the yard, the second, the degree of angle. He's not reckless. He's just fighting a different war than the one they taught us in school. Whatever happens, I'm proud to serve with him." Samuel David Dealey never sought fame. He refused interviews, declined publicity tours, and spent his brief shore leaves quietly with his wife and children in Perth, Australia. When asked by Admiral Lockwood why he took such risks, Dealey replied simply, "Sir, 52 boats haven't come home. That's 4,000 men who did everything by the book. If the book isn't working, someone has to write a new one." He wrote it in torpedo trails and sinking destroyers. He wrote it in tactical reports that rewrote naval doctrine. And he wrote it in the survival of countless submariners who came home using the tactics he proved worked. Somewhere in the dark waters off Luzon, USS Harder sits upright at 3,000 feet, her torpedo tubes still aimed forward, forever poised for the attack that never came. "Hit 'em harder," her motto echoes still. Don't just watch, subscribe. Help World War II Archives Declassified hit 1,000 subscribers.